Hello and welcome. This is Kevin Weedmark, broker owner of Homemark Realty Group. Again, we are located right here in Southeast Michigan. And today we're going to be talking about what do you look for in an agent? You know, always on the streets, people will always be like, well, how do I select an agent? You know, why would somebody pick me more often than not? Or, you know, when I sit down with agents as we're recruiting with Homemark, I often get the question from them, you know, or I ask them, better yet, you know, why does somebody choose you? What makes you different? How are you standing out? And people tend to forget that real estate, we are in the people business. Make no mistake about it. You are selling yourself. You know, a lot of these agents like to be with, you know, the bigger names out there from a brokerage house standpoint. I always challenge people in the fact that, you know, agents, I should say, what are you getting from that big brokerage house? And who are people really buying from? They're buying from you. So what is your brand and why would somebody pick you is the biggest thing you really need to figure out. But, you know, when taking a step back before I got into this business, you know, you would go through a process of potentially interviewing agents. And much like everything I do, I don't care if I'm buying a car, if I'm, you know, going to buy a dishwasher, you know, I'll at least talk to two separate locations or two separate salespeople. I'm always going to get a perspective one side to the next because you never really know what that other person's going to say. Maybe they have some good knowledge. Maybe you just didn't click, but you might be able to learn something from that individual that whoever you decide to go with or the salesperson that you decide to work with, you'll be able to share that knowledge and make that important to you. So, you know, from a client's perspective, today, again, what I really want to talk about is, you know, how do you pick an agent to help you buy or sell your home? You know, the biggest thing I like to tell people is, you know, before you go through a series of questions, and I'm going to go through some stuff, you need to determine what type of individual you are. So you need to really analyze your needs and what's most important to you. Everybody wants to sell their house quickly, and everybody wants to sell it for top dollar. And frankly, if you got a beautiful home and you've taken care of it and you got the TLC behind it and it's clean, it's nice, and it shows well, you're more than likely going to sell it relatively quickly, right? It's going to get good exposure, and you're going to have a lot of traffic through that house. However, with today's digital marketing age, I mean, you really can explode that home and even drive more traffic to that particular showing. You know, now if you're on the buyer side, you need to again determine as the client, what are my needs? And when is it going to be most convenient for me to look at homes? Am I somebody that I like my weekends? My weekends are important to me and my family. I know buying a home is a major decision. However, I'm in no absolute rush. I'm not going to walk in. I don't want to be pushed. I don't want to be like, I got to buy today. There's a bidding situation. There's 10 bids. I mean, that happens in the marketplace, and you need to be prepared for that. If that's not you, that's okay. That's not a problem as long as you understand that. You may be an individual that says, hey, I'm working long hours. My weekends are sacred. However, after I get out of work, I'd be willing to go see houses. So if something comes up, I'm going to need an agent that's going to be available after hours. And, you know, when you're going through the interview process, you need to understand what's going to be most convenient for you. Is it, you know, you want somebody that's available by phone. You want to be able to text with this individual. You want to be able to operate via email. You want to have constant contact in that way. Those are the things that you need to understand what's most important to you, how you want to operate, how soon you want to move, things of that nature, so that you can pick the correct agent. Because I'll be honest with you, you know, you see the signs, you see billboards, you see advertisements. The individual that you always see the most although they're obviously active because that's expensive to be out there, they might not be the best fit for you. They may be too busy. They're obviously pleasing a lot of people, but again, if they're servicing too many clients with their attention, it might be split, and they might not be able to focus on your needs. So, I challenge listeners out there is, you're going through this process from either a buy or sell. You need to really understand what are your needs exactly, and then categorize them on 1 to 5. And as you're going through, and evaluating these agents, make sure that you stick to your guns and make sure that those are the 5 important things that you're going to be looking for when you're doing these interviews. So now let's take a step back and let's get through, a little bit of these questions that you want to ask. When you sit down with them, the biggest thing is most agents are going to want to come to your home. Any good agent is going to say, hey, I'm really excited, especially for a listing appointment. I would love to sit down. And the reason that they more often than not want to do that is they want to see your home, right? They want to see what it is that they're going to be putting out in the marketplace, and any potential issues that they may need to address, or hard things that they may need to discuss with you in order to get that listing sold as quickly as possible and for top dollar. But when you sit down with that agent and you bring them in, you really need to determine what is their personality, and is this somebody that you can trust? Real estate can be a wonderful experience. It's an exciting time. You're selling your home, you're buying a new one, you're moving. It's adventurous, but let's be honest, it can also be stressful. And more often than not, a lot of people stress. They just, it's a stressful time. They want it to happen now. I need it done yesterday. Why didn't this person, that person? It's a lot of anxiety. So you want to make sure that the agent that you're going to be dealing with from a personality standpoint, when they come into your home, how do they conduct themselves? And anyone can put on a facade, of course, but you really need to ask them hard personal questions just in general. Get to know them a little bit. Do they got kids? Do they have a family? Do they live in the area? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? Find those things out and read them on a personal level. Once you sit down, more than likely that agent's going to come into your home, and the whole time they're talking to you, they're also evaluating the house. And a good agent is going to say, hey, let's walk around and take a look. Show me your home, because you got to have pride in it. So why don't you show me your home as if I was a potential buyer? That's often what I do. Walk me around your home as if you're an agent and I'm a buyer, and show me all the wonderful things that you like about it. What makes it special? And that agent should be writing things down. They should be taking notes. What then is going to happen is you're going to be sitting down, and they should have prepared some information. But before you get to that information, you're going to probably more than likely begin to ask them some questions. So the first thing you're going to want to know is, what is your experience as a real estate agent? And experience doesn't always mean that they're going to be the correct person. You may be coming, everybody gets started somewhere, right? You got started in your job, whatever it is you're doing. You launched your career. The unique thing about real estate is a lot of people get into it at various times in their life. They get into it for different reasons. And they could be getting into it at 50, or they could be getting into it fresh out of college. And that's not a bad thing. Typically what I find is the newer agents, if they're very serious about this business, although they may be not as knowledgeable or not as polished potentially with their presentation, but they're eager, they're hungry, and they will bend over backwards to help you. So, don't disregard a potential agent that somebody you may have great rapport with, you may click with, you will know that they're going to go to bat for you, just based on the fact that, hey, they just got started. So I would encourage you to not make that an absolute requirement. The big thing, however, that I would make a requirement is knowing, are you full-time or part-time? And you should be able to really evaluate this and do your homework prior to them showing up. Getting online, looking at, do they have a Facebook business page? Do they have a personal page? You can look at all those things and determine what else it is they did. Go on LinkedIn. Do they have a business page? What else is it that they're doing? And you should be able to see right there, how long have they been doing this? You don't want somebody that comes in and says, I got years of experience. I do this full time. I've been doing this for like 3 years, only to find that they have a full-time sales job with XYZ company because it's on their LinkedIn. Anyone that's going to come in through that interview process and lie to you right on the bat should be totally discarded, and it doesn't even matter how well you relate with that person. But again, you want somebody full-time, especially if this is going to be a full-time thing for you. Again, going back to your goals as the buyer or seller. I'm aggressive, I'm now, or, hey, this is kind of passive, we're thinking about it. Maybe a part-time person that you really click with, that has the same likes, really understands you, could be a great fit. But you need to know that going in. The other thing you want to ask is, how long have you worked in this particular location? Michigan's a unique animal, in my opinion, in the fact that you have all these suburbs. I think everyone can have vast knowledge of the surrounding area. However, if you really want to hone into an immediate, downtown Northville, downtown Plymouth, or I need to be in Birmingham. Can you tell me a little bit about Lake Oxford? You're going to want an agent that really knows that particular area. So you want to make sure that you're choosing agents from that area that you're going to do that interview with. The other thing that you could ask this potential agent is, do you normally deal with buyers or sellers? There are big real estate teams out there, and they do a fantastic job. And as they grow, what happens is they have specifically, hey, this is a buyer's agent, this is a seller's agent. And the thought process there is, if you continue to deal with, just buyers, you're going to become an expertise in dealing with just buyers. You're going to be able to pick up on certain things that they say. You're going to be able to handle a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, maybe deal with the anxiety of, do I make it, helping people get off the fence and make decisions, and maybe pushing people to make decisions quicker than not, because maybe they're losing homes because of procrastination. They're afraid to take that leap because they just don't know. So you want to have a question of, who do you deal with, and who do you like dealing with? I mean, you may find an agent that's out there and they're ready to get any business that they want, but they particularly love dealing with buyers. They love driving people around. So that's a great question to ask. And the other question is, how many prospective buyers approach you? That's kind of an open-ended question, especially if you're selling your house. It should lead that agent into, okay, what you're really asking is, how am I getting you out there? How am I marketing your house? What is the size of the network that I have available to me in order to make your house go faster? The other questions you could be asking is, what do you perceive of your personal strengths? Again, you're an interview. You're going through an interview process. You need to put your manager's hat on. This is the biggest transaction that you're dealing with more than likely in your lifetime. So you need to be asking those hard questions. And if that agent can't be honest and say, here's my strengths, and here are potentially some of my weaknesses, but here's how I'm getting better. Here's how somebody on my team helps me evaluate. Here's somebody that I can continue, a colleague of mine that I continue to bounce ideas off, because I know it's not a particular strength of mine. But at the end of the day, client, I'm going to get you the best answer. That's what you're looking for. You want to know, hey, here's a strength. Here's why I excel. Here's what I really do well, and here's where I fall off. And the reason that's important is because it's going to really tell you what type of personality that person is. So again, going back to your goals, who you are as an individual, are they going to be an agent that you can work with? The other, they're going to come prepared. If the agent hasn't come prepared with the information regarding your home, if you're a seller, then right off the bat, you don't want to be dealing with that agent. But a great way to ask this question is, what do you think our property is worth in the current market? And here's the kicker. How did you arrive at that figure? You want to know what they did. How did they break that down, right? With today's digital media out there and the digital marketing, and there's a wealth of knowledge. There's so many websites you can go to. You could probably do a majority of this yourself, right? I mean, that's why you see a lot of people try to sell a house for sale by owner. The problem what they fall into is when you're dealing with something that big personally, it's extremely time consuming, right? If you want to sell it, you need to be buried in it. I talk to FSBOs all the time. I'm like, this is a full-time job. This is why we do it as full-time jobs. It's why it's a career for me. I immerse myself in it. So you want to know, how did they arrive at that figure? What data did they pull from? Did they know how many bedrooms you had? Are they doing it within a half-mile radius, a mile radius? What square feet did they use? Did they just base it on your particular subdivision because it's had numerous sales? What data are they pulling to understand the current value of your home, and how did they get to it? The next thing you want to ask, and I think this one is huge, digital marketing, without question, is the wave of the future. Social media is one of the most powerful tools out there. I mean, if you're listening to this and you got kids, I mean, they're on those gadgets 24 hours a day. I'm constantly telling my daughter, can you just put it down for 5 to 10 minutes? I love to spend some time with you. Like, wouldn't it be nice and refreshing to be able to breathe for 5 to 10 seconds and get away from that social media? So, digital marketing to me, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, I mean, all of it, the wide range is where it's at. I know the MLS. I know you have Zillow. I know you have Truly. I know you have Realtor. The stats are in the proof is in the pudding. The National Association of Realtors has stated 85% of potential buyers begin their search online. And what's really growing is social media. And how is that growing is if you have an agent that's active on social media and your client's active, they're going to see that agent. They're going to see the listings that they're putting out there. They're going to see them as an expert, and they're going to drift over to their potential website and begin looking through homes through their website. I mean, what's unique today is if you go to an agent's website and you dive into their search engines, that's using the MLS. That's better than Zillow. That's better than Trulia. So going to an agent's website and diving in there and seeing what their particular listings are, as well as looking at your search through their engine, that's the best route to go by far. But the fact of the matter is people are getting online. So you want to know, what is their range of advertising and what are the marketing options? What are they going to do to campaign and sell your house? And here's the kicker, how are they going to track it? The beauty of digital marketing and getting your home out there on social media is your agent should be able to track it, through QR codes and virtual tours, through mobile syndication. I mean, there are so many ways, and they should be able to come back to you and say, here's how I'm going to post your listing out there. Here's how I'm going to drive traffic to it. Here's what I can report to you on a weekly basis of the activity that we're seeing, how many click-throughs, what's going on. It's an amazing tool. Numbers don't lie. They can't run from it. And frankly, if your agent is not sophisticated in that space, more than likely you need to move on because that's where everybody is. As I said, it's 85% are out there online. So you want to have that person out there. The other thing on the buying side, you want an agent that has a social media presence as an expert in the space, because what's going to happen is people are going to approach them that are maybe even entertaining selling, and they're going to be asking them questions. hey, I was thinking about selling. I'm not sure yet. It may be 6 months down the road. We were thinking about moving. I got a new job coming up, but here's our situation. Could you help us understand what our options are? The beauty of that, of knowing that an agent is socially active in a community and is on digital, on the social media space, and is a consummate expert, is they're going to have what's called pocket listings, so to speak. So you as a potential seller, you have your house for sale, or you're looking to buy. Now he has somebody, he knows what your needs are. He may have somebody that they're not sure, they're just kind of kicking the tires, and he may be able to patch you two together and find you the perfect home that's not even listed yet. It's not even out there. But because he's active or she's active and out in the space and is the expert in that field, it's only going to help your situation. So, as much as the old school thinking is, I need to go to the top agent, they're the best in the area, they're the biggest, that's not the case anymore. Social media is blowing that whole thing up. Now, it's not blowing it up from the expertise that they have, the knowledge, their ability to negotiate. However, if they're not out there in the social media space and they're not driving both buyers and sellers to meet one another, you're missing out on that, okay? The other thing is you want to have effective administration of all legal and financial requirements. You want an agent that's well-versed in any legal matters and has somebody that they can go to. At Hallmark Realty Group, we have in-house counsel. It was something that I was really, really, really a must-have for my company. It was having in-house counsel. I think it is absolutely huge. Everybody's situation is different. Typically, you don't need those legal services. However, if it does come up, I have somebody on my team, part of the organization, that can step in and take care of that. The other thing is, you want an agent that's fairly well versed in the financial requirements, because as you move down the path, if you're a buyer or a seller, you would love nothing more than having an agent that has your back and understanding, hey, what's going on? Are they approved for my house? How's their financing going? You're not going to call the mortgage company and say, hey, can you tell me a little bit about it? Is my client, are they ready to buy? No, you need an agent that's fairly well versed in that process, know this where they should be along the line, so they can uncover any potential issues that are going to be coming down the path. The other things that you can do when you have them is, we already talked about being a digital marketing expert. You want to have them, their ability to speak with you about your services. Asking them, how long does it take, for you to sell the average home? What price points do you deal with? How do you get it out there originally in the marketing space? And can you recommend any service providers to help me with a mortgage? Do you recommend any home repairs? A good agent's going to walk outside, is going to tell you things that you need to do, is going to help you stage that home properly, is really going to take the time to take some beautiful photos, put them online, label them correctly, because first impressions are everything. Again, to kind of backtrack, I've been long-winded. I know I'm over 20 minutes, and they always say, hey, podcast-wise, you got to cut it off because no one's going to listen to you anymore. So I'm gonna wrap this up, and I just want to leave you with the fact of, this is your biggest transaction. You need somebody that you feel extremely comfortable with, and if you really like that person, then you need to know that you're going to be dealing with them and them only. And if you're going to be pushed off on somebody else, or there's going to be somebody else on that team that's going to be assisting you, my recommendation is you make sure that you meet them also, because that more than likely is going to be your point person, your person of contact, and if you don't jive with that person, it could be one of the worst experiences of your life. So make sure that when you're evaluating them, you relate to them on a personal level, and as always, make sure you read the contract, make sure you understand what it is you're signing. What's your obligation to this agent? How long you have to have it listed? What if you don't agree? You don't think they're doing the job? They back down on something they said they would do. What is your out? What is your clause so that you could take your business elsewhere? Again, I hope this was really helpful to you. If you have any other further questions, I'm always available. You can call me anytime. Really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my podcast today. Again, my name is Kevin Weedmark, broker owner of Homemark Realty Group. I really look forward to potentially meeting you out there. Good luck buying and selling. We're coming into the buying season. I know it's 0 degrees today, but the sun is out and people are starting to get that fever. We're just around the corner to where it's going to be booming, and before you know it, things are going to be moving at a feverish pace. Again, enjoy your day. Enjoy your Sunday. Happy Valentine's Day, and I'll talk to you soon.